Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Celebrity Stage Stories with Jerry Strauss. He is I am him, and we are all here together because, as usual, we are getting ready for an amazing conversation with an amazing guest. Uh, this woman, so many things that we're going to be talking about because her still very young career is just so diverse, and she's accomplished so many things in so many different directions, and we're going to try to touch on as many of them as we can. As the kids today say, she's certainly someone they've been talking about, the world has been talking about lately. She's what's hot on the streets, as they say,
Mhm.
or in her case, she's hot on the big screen, the small screen, the runways of the fashion world, the bookshelves, and so much more. She's an actress, author, philanthropist, and many, many other things. And she's here, and she's very patient to wait through that introduction. She's Blanca Blanco. Hi.
Hey, it's such an honor to be on your show. Thank you for having me
Th-
here.
Thank you for being here. That was a lot to discuss, and we didn't even get you involved in the conversation yet. I'm already exhausted, so I apologize. um, Listen, one of the reasons that so many people are have your latest performances on their minds and their names on your name on their mind, I should say, is the show Tale of Tales. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get there. Of course, a lot of you hopefully have been checking it out on Tubi TV. If not, we encourage you to absolutely do so because Blanca is in consideration for an Emmy for this. I mean, this is insane. You are really at the top of people's lists as far as who is doing great work on television this year. So, congratulations right off the bat.
Thank
For
you.
Yeah, it's amazing. But let's go back to the beginning a little bit and kind of track through at least some of the high points of this amazing career you have. You're one of five kids, correct?
Yes, yeah, we're a big family. Three girls and two boys.
I found this so interesting because that's a lot to handle for any parents, and your parents both came over here from Mexico and took on the challenge of doing that and providing for five kids. And in the midst of it all, now we've got this daughter named Blanca who wants to kind of move into the arts, and follow her dream. What was the what was the support system like from that young age? Because you kind of at least started going in this direction when you were like 9 years old, right?
Yes. Well, it was definitely a passion of mine. I enjoyed creating characters, and I would do scenes from movies or just short films with my siblings. And it was definitely something that I had it in me that I really felt that it kept the light alive. And
Mhm.
so as I got older, I continued taking classes and doing, whatever I could to be on a set. And so when I finished my education, I decided to pursue acting as a professional career in Los Angeles.
Mhm. And was that something your parents were excited about, or I mean, it had to cause some sort of extra work on their part, or is at least concern about your future and going in that path?
Well, definitely when I was in school, I would have teachers that would be like, well, let's talk about a realistic career.
Right. Yeah.
And so I just learned that you just actions will be the way of doing things. So when I moved to Los Angeles, my parents knew that I was very driven and that I was very responsible. So they did not question my actions. They're like, okay, we're happy for you. And I don't know how you're going to survive there. There's a lot of crazy people. And so I just, I moved. But yeah, I definitely had their support because they knew that throughout my life I made choices and I always made sure that it was something that I was doing this whatever was within my boundaries and also my ethics. So they were very supportive.
Well, and I mean, they had a right to be because unlike a lot of people who kind of go full tilt on their dreams as much of a long shot as they may be, from an earlier age, you did take the time to go to college. You then went and got your master's in social work. You did all this before you moved to LA. So
Yeah.
was that like another equal passion of yours to go in that direction, or was it just the idea of having that responsible career to fall back on?
It was definitely something that I wanted to have a strong foundation when I came to LA. I didn't want to be here and just be like working. In the beginning, you have to get a regular job if you're gonna be transitioning into acting. That's the reality. If you don't have any family in the industry, no contacts, you
Right,
just move, following a passion. You definitely need because in the beginning you get agents, managers, everything. So you really have to be very realistic, and you do have to have a job unless you're super rich and your parents pay for everything,
right.
which it wasn't my case. So I had to be, make sure I had a job. But when I just thought that with my background, growing up, experiencing severe poverty and discrimination, all these challenges that I experienced, I believe that education was the key and it would have changed our life pattern.
Mhm.
So I wanted to make sure I have my education because I thought it would help me with my to have my own foundation so I'm able to handle the craziness of the industry and the challenges, everything. So it was a choice that I made. It took me longer to get here, but I did summers in every year, summer school classes, everything to make sure that I finished early my master's degree. I did psychology for my bachelor's, my
Mm,
master's in psychology, my master's in social work, and these type of my degrees also helped me and prepared me to face what I face in the industry.
yeah,
I'm able to work with different groups, group dynamics, and understand personalities and behavior, and also see red flags. When I work on characters, I'm able to work on finding doing like an assessment of the childhood of my character, so I can develop the adulthood. So it gave me a lot of insight, and also about different characters, about life, different diagnosis and everything. So it definitely grounded me where I came here and I wasn't desperate. Like if I didn't get a job, I'm not worried about it. Like I'm secure.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you hear so many stories. The classic cliched story that those of us who've never made that move or pursued that path always hear is that, people move out to LA and they find a job as a waiter, and that's kind of what
Yes,
they
and
do
I
for
didn't want
years.
to do that. I didn't want to do that, not to discredit their work, but it's
Mm,
just I knew that I could go to, for me, it was important to have my education. And I knew that that was gonna be the key. And yeah, when I moved here, I work as a therapist for 4 years. And at the
that's
same
amazing.
time, I was doing acting. I was doing workshops, doing auditions, doing bookings, everything. And I still kept a full-time job until after I joined the union. I
That's
decided to just, it's time to, and I'm ready. And I have my savings. Now I'm ready to do this. And then that's how I did it.
so smart, so smart. It's a great story. It's a great thing to hear, and a great thing for those who may be looking to follow your path to hear, because that feels very motivational for those to kind of get their ducks in a row if they're going
Mhm.
to make that move. Certainly, it's worked out for you. Now, you started acting before you made the move to LA. You started acting from childhood, but then when you go to Los Angeles, part of what you do is you join this theater group, and you're working with and studying with or under names like Gordon Hunt, who's an award-winning director, uh, Sally Kirkland, who's a screen legend, Bruce Glover as well, someone who is very, very accomplished on the screen. How valuable was your time working with these people, as far as this next chapter in your acting pursuit? Now that you're not just doing local stage stuff, now you're really looking to break into TV and movies.
Yes, it was definitely. I always appreciated them because they had so much wisdom, so much experience, and I was learning so much from them. I asked a lot of questions, and I knew that I was working, studying with the top in the industry, and I just felt good that they would look at my work, as an actress, and they were impressed, and I thought that's a good sign, you
Yeah.
know, because like I said, I didn't have any family in the industry. It was just like me and even no one in LA. I
Mm.
just moved, to pursue something that I wanted to since I was a child. So it just to be able to work with these amazing actors as, directors and, Sally and Bruce and Gordon, I just felt like I won the lottery with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and such a big change for you as far as lifestyle, as far as the work, as far as everything kind of all at once. I'm curious about this, and this is something maybe we haven't really di- uh, dived dived into with some of our prior guests who've followed a similar path. But when you move from the formative stages of your acting life, where it mainly is plays and things on a stage, and now you're in a world where the whole goal, more often than not, is to audition to be in front of a camera of some kind. Is that as big? I, I guess my question is it a smaller or a bigger change than what you expected? Like, were you kind of um, were you surprised by how differently, like how there's a different skill set perhaps involved with moving mediums away from the stage a little bit and more towards trying to be a star on camera?
Oh yeah, definitely it's different. Like even when you do, for example, you gotta remember that you have a camera in front. When you're doing stage work, it's not you're just performing in a bigger space, but with camera, you have a smaller space. You gotta know if it's a close-up, medium, or wide shot. All this is definitely technical, but it's
Mhm.
definitely the same idea as far as the the creating the character is just like you gotta be aware of the technical aspect, and then everything is smaller in camera, like in stage is very dramatic, overly
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're like but not on in camera is very natural.
Mhm. That's what we've heard as far as sort of that transition, from some people is just kind of the art of making everything bigger on the stage, but then being aware of being on camera and just doing things a lot more subtly because it appears big,
Yeah.
because the camera makes it so. Speaking of big, you made a big impression in one of your many early roles, or at least from a few years ago, 2018. You win Best Supporting Actress at the International Independent Film Festival for your role as a villain in the film Betrayed. Now, we've talked for what, 10, 15 minutes now already. You're clearly the most pleasant person on the planet. I mean, this is not someone that you'd look at walking down the street and think, "Oh, she's a villain." How much fun is it for you to flip that switch and play the bad girl?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely my first role as a villain, and it was a complicated character, and I really enjoyed you know the challenging part of it, like finding the character and everything. But one of the things as an actress, you cannot judge the character, like you remove the societal, like norms and rules. Like you just have to really dive in and just really do what your intention is.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed every day was different, and I try not to judge myself because the character was very dark, but I also really wanted to give dignity to the character and also humanity because she had so much going on that from her past that the current situation was affecting her, and so I was able to bring that into my character. And I was very happy to win the best supporting actress.
Yeah, it feels like the perfect example of how your background in psychology and social work, I can just sense that you broke this character down in a way that few others would be able to do.
Oh
It
yeah, definitely. I was able to, go back to childhood and
Yeah.
really like see what happened, what areas happened in her life that changed to who she is, because everything that we do in childhood affects the adulthood, and that
Mhm.
shapes you. So just doing all that, extra part of the assignments, like just digging into it. It's fun. I really, when I work on my characters, I put 100% in my studying, my research, and when I get to the set, I'm ready to go and ready to work with the actors, and I have what I need to be doing, and then I take direction if there's any changes. But I'm not a procrastinator. Like, when I was a student, I was a 4.0 student,
Mm.
but it's not that it just came easy. I worked very hard at it. Like, I would do office hours, I would do after hours studying. I would do 8 hours a day of homework,
Wow.
assignments or learning everything. But so it's not like it was, oh, I can just procrastinate and get an A. No, I had to work at it. And the same thing with acting. Like, I am not like the greatest actress, but hey, I'm auditioning, I'm doing workshops, and I'm improving every year. So definitely, like, it's nothing stops you, like
Yeah.
the only person that stops yourself is you.
Eh,
So I just feel that you just gotta do your work, show up prepared, and treat it as it's a job. It's not just like hanging out on a set and doing something glam or whatever. It's work. You have a team that relies on you.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you talk about how much you dive into your work, which is amazing because of some of the things that we haven't even touched on yet, and those who check out your website, blancablanco.com, there's a lot of great imagery there, where we can see that on top of everything else we've discussed so far, you have really set the fashion world, the modeling world on fire. You've modeled in countless magazines, you've walked the runway at Paris Fashion Week, like, you've basically become this fashionista, this icon. I am not even fashionable enough to discuss this properly with you, but you are definitely on that level. How much I mean, how much of a passion is that for you to have that as part of your image? And how much work is it for you, not just from figuring out your style and, keeping that image in the public eye, but also just, the fitness aspect of it and everything that goes with being sort of this visual, stylistic icon, in addition to working on your performing art, which is a whole different battle.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it is, you gotta, like for me, like I try to keep a healthy lifestyle, like exercise, eat healthy,
Yeah.
and just be able to, when I do my work, my modeling work, my editorials, I done editorials all over the world, and I didn't do that. I did that through my acting work, doing breaking the internet on red carpets. I get offers. I get bookings like that.
Mhm.
So I basically did that without an agent, modeling agent. I
Yeah.
was getting all these magazines, and I have people from agencies, like big agencies for modeling. They reach out to me. Oh,
Wow.
who's your agent? Who's your agent? But I've been, it's important to have good relationships when you work with someone, and you gotta make sure that you're professional, and they keep bringing you back. I done like in just this week. I mean, this month I have like 4 magazines that I just received for that I was published. But it's been years of building relationships, and also when I do my work, I put 100% in it, and I guess like when I moved to LA, I did ask a few modeling agencies,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, you're too curvy. Come back when you lose 10 pounds."
Mhm.
Yeah, so I just thought, like, that's not for me. Like, I'm gonna I'm super skinny anyway, and they're telling me that I need to just like lose weight. Like seriously, like that's like messed up, you know?
Yeah.
So I just decided, well, with time, I will get, brands will look at me through my work as an actress, and that's how it happened. But I definitely, so I did the non-traditional way of booking magazines. Like
Mm.
1 year, I did four editorials, like double page and Vogue, everything. So it's like it happens. You don't really need to have an agent for modeling.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I don't think that's a common story though, but I mean, it's pretty awesome. And again, this is something that people really need to hear. Another thing people need to do is check out your book. You wrote a book in the middle of all this. Not only a book, but a book that won the award for favorite inspirational book 2022 at the Hollywood Global Film Festival. It's called Breaking the Mold. And, clearly in talking to you, we can hear a lot of what has gone into this book. Tell us about why you decided that you wanted to move into this direction and become an author.
Well, it was during the lockdown. I was at home and I just thought, well, I'm not going anywhere right now. Like the airports are closed
Yeah.
and everything is closed. So I thought I wanted to write this book when I got older and I would take time for that because I thought it would be important to share my experience. But during the lockdown, I saw there was so much poverty, abuse, discrimination. Everything was really like crazy for a while. So
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'm just gonna like put myself in my office and work on my book. And I did. I did. It took me a year from start to finish, and it's at Barnes and Nobles, Amazon Prime, and it's in a lot of bookstores. And it's been bestseller in some places, and I'm very happy because I wanted to send a message of hope and resilience and overcoming hardships.
Yeah.
And I actually just did a college tour in Washington State, and the feedback, I mean the students that come to me afterwards, or I have people crying while I'm speaking. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh God, I don't know if that's a good thing, but then they tell me like, I have so many things going on similar to what you went through, and you're giving me hope that I can do that, that I can, finish school, like I could still do this, that I could. So I really, it's very empowering to see that, I thought even if I just influence one person or I'm able to help one person, but it's been like so much feedback that it's been very like an emotional for all my crew. We're like, wow, like we're like processing everything after each presentation, like because just of the stories that we get from the students. I mean, I was leaving Lake Chelan one, we were finishing there, and I remember these two little girls, and they were juniors, and one girl tells me like, something, I was ready to quit school, and I went to the assembly that you did, and I was really inspired. And then she was crying, and she says, I told my counselor that I'm gonna stay in school because you did it, I can do it. And
Mhm.
that just like it touched my heart. Like, wow, like I'm so glad that I was able to be there. So that way she changes her, like her goals, like she wants to go to school, but she wanted to quit. And so now she's able to just keep her goals.
Yeah, and I mean, the book is great, but the reason that people are inspired by you is because you've done it. I mean, you've accomplished so many amazing things, and it's all been not through connections, not through luck. I mean, there's always some luck involved, but there's preparation for that luck, and there's
Oh,
hard
yeah.
work that goes behind that preparation. And you've accomplished everything we've talked about, and so much that we probably won't have time for. But you've done it all, every step of the way on your own. And that brings us to today because we touched on it earlier. Tale of Tales is a show that is getting a lot of serious buzz. You can catch it on Tubi TV, which in and of itself is just growing more and more every day. People are loving this streaming service. Um, you play Lola, who's a struggling single mom who works as an exotic dancer, gets wrapped up in some drama. There's a fellow dancer that disappears, and there's a lot of potential crime and just a very intense the show has a very an intensity to it. Um, what was it about this project and about this role in particular of Lola that appealed to you and is different to you than anything you've done before in your career?
Well, I definitely, when I got the script, I just felt that it was a story that I was not familiar with, like that industry, that industry. I actually have never known anyone that does that type of work.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be open-minded. I just thought, this is a good opportunity to bring light to a subject that is real, and the struggles is there. People don't talk about it, like what goes behind the scenes for people in that industry. And so I just thought, when I read, I just thought I could bring dignity to my character, and I could also, also learn more. Just keep growing, creating different characters. I was not like, I mean, I even took lessons, dancing lessons, so I could understand, what how hard it is. Well, when I did some lessons, I was, I'm pretty much in, exercising everything, and I feel that I'm in shape. But
Mm.
when I was practicing,
Yeah.
I realized I'm so out of shape. I couldn't even breathe because you have 7-inch high heels platforms, and
Right.
you have to perform while you do that, engage with the audience, with the customers or whatever, and then you
Mhm.
have to stand out, otherwise nobody is gonna tip you. And
Right.
then they give you $1 for all the work, like, seriously. But I had so many bruises on my legs. I never had bruises in my legs like that when I was training. And I just did the preparation to understand, like, the daily routine of my character, because really, like, my role was very, she holds the key to a crime, and she goes through internal conflict, so a lot of emotional, but she is more of the advanced dancer, so she kind of guides the other girls. And so I just thought, she's a leader that just is trying to find her way into, her new journey.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's captivating. It's getting more and more discussion. This show is every day, and I believe there's already discussion, or is it already locked in that there is a season 2 coming?
Yeah, there's season 2 coming this year.
Excellent, excellent. So the excitement for it continues. The audience will continue to grow. The conversation about it will continue to grow. But right now, the world is talking about who is going to be considered for the upcoming Emmy Awards, and you are in consideration for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series for that. So we applaud you and we congratulate you on that. We want to make sure this conversation continues, and we want to make it as loud. We want to amplify that conversation as
Thank
much
you
as
so much.
possible. So definitely, why don't we let the people know? I mean, as far as your social media, where would you like them to follow you, to retweet you, to support you, to like your stuff, and to continue this conversation and get that conversation about Tales of Tales out there?
Yeah, you can follow me at Blanca Blanco Actress on Instagram. And I also have Facebook, and I also have Instagram. I mean, Twitter. But yeah, you can find me. Even you can go to my website, blancablanco.com, and I have all my social medias there. So you can just, if that's easier, I know it's confusing with so many, so many social medias out there.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, if there's anyone who's mastered multitasking, it's you. So I know that we can look to you for inspiration on that as well. And of course, Tale of Tales, that's Tale of Tales, Tails, is on Tubi TV. You guys can go catch up on that, binge it, check it out. And then you'll know what we're talking about. And then you can kind of trumpet this the nomination of our esteemed guest here this week, because she definitely deserves to be in the conversation for the awards this year. And we can't wait to see what happens. So we're so excited. We're excited for season 2. We're excited for everything you've mentioned that's coming out, all the magazines and everything else we know you'll be doing in the next year and 2 years and 5 years and however many years you choose to stay as insanely busy as you are.
Yeah.
So that being said, We're so glad that you were able to take some time to talk to us this week. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored that you interviewed me.
Oh, we appreciate it. And thank you all so much. Everyone checking us out here, Celebrity Stage Stories, whether you're on YouTube, any of our podcast platforms, or anywhere you may be watching, listening to, or reading this. We appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much, Blanca.